It was 2:03 a.m. when the phone rang. I stared at the screen. Dad. My thumb hovered before answering. His voice came through, hushed and strange. Callista's in labor. If you want to see the baby, come now. That was all. No pleasantries. No warmth. Just urgency wrapped in cold silence. I didn't think, I just moved. I grabbed my coat, shoved on my boots, and bolted into the Chicago snow. The city lights blurred through flurries, the world silent except for my heartbeat pounding in my ears. At the hospital, the maternity ward smelled like bleach and sorrow. I ran, breath visible in the air. A nurse looked up, startled. Callista, right? I asked, voice cracking. She hesitated. They left. Said there were complications. The room was empty. Just an imprint on the bed, a discarded pink baby sock, and a folded hospital wristband on the floor. Gone. I picked up the sock with trembling hands. The kind of pink that meant hope, or once did. Their house smelled like roasted coffee and expensive denial. Talia opened the door, looked at me like I was a solicitor. You're early, she said, like I was interrupting brunch. Callista was on the couch, legs crossed, sipping coffee like she hadn't erased a human being just hours ago. She was deaf, she said calmly, eyes flat. We fixed the mistake. The room spun. You what? Desmond, arms crossed by the window, didn't even flinch. You don't understand the consequences, Seraphine. This is bigger than you. Talia chimed in. We made the pragmatic choice. It's not about cruelty. It's about protection. Where is she? I cried, chest tight. She's still blood. Still family. Marcus appeared from the kitchen, voice dry. You're not a parent, Seraphine. This isn't your battle. But it is, I said. She's part of me. She was defective, Callista whispered, more to her mug than to me. Unfit for the Voss name. My legs gave. Rage held me upright. I slapped her. Hard. The sound echoed. You're a monster, I hissed. Callista didn't flinch. Then call me one. But don't think I'll let you ruin what I've built. Desmond turned slowly. If you keep this up, we will sue. Defamation. Harassment. Do not mistake your obsession for righteousness. I don't care what you call it, I said. I won't let this go. Callista stepped closer. You're not my sister anymore. We erased the shame. So erase me too. Then Talia's hand, cold, decisive, shut the door in my face. I stood in the snow, breath fogging. Frozen. Broken. But still burning inside. I didn't sleep. At home, I pulled out the bottom drawer. The one no one knew about. Inside the sock. The wristband. A folded map with colored pins stabbing across 5 states. 12 pins. 12 what-ifs. I pressed my forehead to the map. I won't let you disappear, I whispered. My phone buzzed. A number. No name. Just a message. They lied. I saw it. I can help. I stared. Typed nothing. Then scribbled the number onto the edge of the map. By sunset, I was sitting in a beginner's ASL class. The room was quiet. The kind of quiet that feels louder than noise. Rain tapped the windows in steady rhythm. I traced the ASL alphabet slowly, again and again, my fingers unsure. I signed baby for the first time, hands shaking. The chair was hard, the classroom colder than expected. I looked around, a handful of students, all strangers. None of them knew what brought me here. In my head, I saw us again, Callista and I as kids, making snow angels in the backyard, laughing about nothing. She always made the first move, always had the last word. How did we get here? My fingers formed the letters again, baby. Tears blurred the page. If she has no voice in this world, I will be hers, I whispered. The lights dimmed. On the board in clear marker, welcome to day 1. I scribbled something in the corner of my notebook. Her name could be Ever. 12 years is a long time to chase a ghost, but I never stopped. I couldn't. My life shrank into maps and pins, motels, and side jobs. One-bedroom apartments with walls covered in printed adoption files, court documents, sticky notes in shaky ASL. The red thread connected it all, from Chicago to Ohio to Pennsylvania, stretching like veins on a heart that refused to quit. I worked cleaning offices, waiting tables, tutoring ASL beginners. Anything to keep gas in the tank and hope in the tank. At night, I'd stare at the wall, eyes burning, tracing timelines and possibilities. Maybe she was moved again. Maybe her name changed. Maybe she remembers me. Somehow. At deaf community events, I stood quietly in the back, watching, listening, hoping someone might slip up and say something. They never did. When the world won't speak to you, you learn to listen differently. Aaron found me at a cultural fair in Akron. He was tall, proud, mid-40s, hands like granite. He signed with sharp precision. "You don't belong here." "I'm just trying to help," I signed back softly. He scoffed. "You hearing folks come to soothe guilt, not to understand." "I'm looking for someone, my niece." "Too late. We raise our own. We bury our own." He walked off before I could explain. Later that week, I joined a community ASL class. A woman named Elsie taught it. Sharp eyes, elegant hands. When I introduced myself, she paused at my last name. "Voss," she said aloud. Not a question, an accusation. Something in the air shifted. After class, she pulled me aside. "My best friend's baby was taken 12 years ago from a hospital your sister was affiliated with." I swallowed. "I'm not her. I'm trying to undo what she did." Elsie didn't answer, just turned away. Even here, I was still Callista's sister. The note in my journal that night read, "I am my own bloodline now." Hope showed up dressed as a man named Roy. He was a private investigator. Clean jacket, kind smile, the kind of voice that made you want to trust him. "I've seen families shattered," he told me. "Let's fix this one." I gave him everything. Photos, names, emails, and the last of my savings. He needed money for travel, for paperwork, for lawyers. He called often in the beginning, updating me, promising we're getting close. 3 months later, he disappeared. The number went dead. His office? Cleaned out. No forwarding address. I found myself in a rundown motel outside Toledo, holding the receipt for the retainer fee that drained my bank account. I sat on the bed, cold coffee in one hand, the map in the other. Another pin. Another lie. Hope is a dangerous currency. Spend it wisely. A woman at a Michigan shelter mentioned a girl named Hannah. Right age. Right medical file. Partial hearing loss, behavioral issues. No known family. My heart sprinted. I bought a small bracelet with the letter E. Just in case. When I saw her in the courtyard, hair like mine, a birthmark just above the collarbone, I forgot how to breathe. I stepped forward, slowly, hands raised. "It's me," I signed. Her eyes widened. Then she screamed. Staff ran out. Voices clashed. Accusations flew. I was called a stranger, a danger. The bracelet slipped from my hand as they forced me out. In the car, I tore up the drawing I had made for her, little stars around her name. "Not again," I whispered. "Not again." I didn't leave the house for 2 days. Then came the winter fair in Erie. I volunteered out of habit. Cocoa station. Dumb elf hat. Pretending the world still spun in its right direction. Children swarmed the games. Laughter filled the air. And then I saw her. She stood behind a tree, half hidden, coat too big for her frame. Watching, waiting. Our eyes met. She didn't speak. She didn't move. Then her hands moved. One sign. Hungry. Simple. Direct. Familiar. The rhythm was unmistakable, slower, careful, like someone who learned by watching, by trial. I froze, then took one step forward. She didn't run. But before I could reach her, a woman appeared behind her, stiff and silent. She took the girl's hand and pulled her away without a word. I followed, not too close, memorizing every detail. The limp in her left leg, the teal buttons on her coat, the rusted license plate on the car. She didn't look back. That night, I sat at the window, breath fogging the glass. "She's out there," I wrote in my journal. I saw her. Ever didn't speak, but she told me everything. In pictures and pauses and touch. Our world was quiet, but it pulsed with life. Every morning began with the same sign, good. Then Coco, then word games in ASL. She'd laugh when I messed up the signs for giraffe and girl, and I pretended not to notice when she started correcting me without thinking. She drew often, mostly storms. Women with wings, soaring above red-threaded maps. In one sketch, a girl stood alone on a cliff, facing a cloud shaped like a woman's face. I didn't tell her who I was. Not yet. Not fully. I couldn't risk shattering the small trust we built. At the community center, she found friends, deaf kids who spoke her language without question or explanation. I watched her blossom. Her joy was sharp and unfiltered. One night, she touched my hand and signed, "Was I always this name?" I smiled. Leet. That lie knocked on our door a week later. Callista. Her voice was smoother than I remembered, practiced. She wore muted colors, her hair darker. Marcus stood behind her, crisp suit, thin smile. They brought folders, legal ones. "We're here to fix things," Callista said. "I don't remember asking you to," I said, my hand already trembling behind the door. They talked about healing, about therapy, about reclaiming family. But then Marcus mentioned a grant, a federal pilot program for deaf youth reintegration, big funding, political favors, media attention. That's when I knew. I invited them for dinner, not for hospitality, but for war. They came, with Desmond and Talia. My parents didn't speak much, but their presence was a pressure in the room, like static before lightning. Ever sat beside me, wide-eyed, trying to follow the signs flying across the table. Callista fumbled them. Her hands were hesitant, rehearsed. She signed safe when she meant sorry. I noticed. Ever noticed? Later that night, I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding. I needed something solid. Truth. It came from Kieran. He called unexpectedly. "I found something," he said. "I don't want her back. But this is yours to use." A flash drive arrived by courier. I clicked it with shaking hands. The screen flickered to a hospital room. 12 years ago. Callista's voice. "I don't want her. I won't raise a broken child." Marcus. "Just sign it. No one will ever know. We're protecting the family." My body went cold. I confronted Talia first. She denied everything. Desmond hesitated, then said, "I didn't know the full story. I let it happen." That video went to court the next day. They said I manipulated Ever, that I used grief and silence to win her over, that blood rights outweighed emotional bonds. They tried to make me the villain in their script, and Ever watched it all unfold, her hands clutched together in her lap like a prayer, until she stood. With her new ASL mentor beside her, she stepped to the front. She signed. I was hungry. She fed me. She paused. I was lost. She waited. Another pause. I choose the one who waited. The courtroom held its breath. The judge's ruling came down like thunder. Legal guardianship granted to me. Full, permanent. Outside, Callista stormed off, muttering things she thought Ever couldn't hear. Desmond lingered. He didn't say a word, just looked at Ever one last time, then turned and walked away. Back at home, Ever curled into my side. I took her hand, the same hand that once signed hungry. Now it held mine.